Each year, the CIK Trophy of New Zealand features visitors, mainly from Australia. They don't get too much better than multi-time Australian champion Remo Luciani.
You've been brought over here to race this weekend, and what's your feeling on the track here at Wellington?
Look, I'd have to say it's absolutely amazing. It's picturesque, and besides picturesque, it's fantastic to drive on. It's got high-speed sections to it with down the hill windy sections, which is very technical. So it's got a bit of everything. It's quite technical, and then there's some smooth driving required on the high-speed circuit.
Over in Australia, what's the kart racing like that, say, compared with New Zealand? A lot more competitive over there?
Look, it's only more competitive only because there's 6,000 licence holders versus 1,000 licence holders. But boy, you know, I've practiced here, and these guys really know how to get around just the same. They're no slouches. They're quite good.
Kart racing in New Zealand's been very good for a lot of drivers, and some that come to mind is Greg Murphy, Fabian Coulthard, they've gone into V8 supercar racing. Have you seen the same thing in Australia?
Yes, definitely. Winterbottom, Whincup, James Courtney, all those guys, especially Jamie Whincup. Him and I, in his last years in karts, was with me, and him and I used to share the same kart. We used to drive with the trailer and share the same go-kart, and he's moved on to cars, and I'm still racing go-karts. Kart
sport is one of those sports, really. It doesn't matter whether you're 12 years old or you're over 50 or even 60, it's still a sport you can participate in.
Yes, look, I set the example of that. In Australia, you start at 7, and last year, whilst I was 50, I won an Australian Championship at the age of 50, and I've set the record in Australia for being the oldest Australian karter ever to win an Australian Championship. So yes, from 7 to 50, it's possible.
On board with Johnny Clifford, the final for the ID New Zealand Yamaha heavy class. These karts and drivers weigh up at 158 kg, driver and kart. On board with Clifford, a busy opening sequence of corners for the start of the final. So 158 kg, driver and kart, all up minimum weight. Direct drive, and that compares to 143 kg for the senior Yamaha light class. Now the driver to watch out for here is Brad Tyrrell. He had to start from the back after that DNF in the pre-final. In fact, he's been starting off the back all weekend, didn't time trial, started off the back for all the heats. Started a little bit further up for the pre-final. And there he is there, making a pass on Clifford. So Tyrrell already working his way forward. As the 7 of Charlton Horse works on the back bumper of Remo Luciani. He's in the second position, finished second in the pre-final behind Sean Ray. Sean Ray winning from Luciani with Johnny Clifford in third. Back on board with Clifford. Tyrrell makes another pass up ahead. That was on Brendan Hart. You can see the tyre build-up on the left front. You don't want to get off the racing line because it probably takes a good half a lap to clean that excess rubber up off the tyre. And you'll see around the racetrack, off the racing line, all the balls of built-up rubber coming off the tyres throughout the weekend over all of the classes, which makes getting off the racing line even more treacherous. Zach Saloon chasing down Luciani, who's lost the second position to Charlton Horse. Bradley Tyrrell up into the 5th position. On that onboard shot with Johnny Clifford, we saw him going by Brendan Hart. There is Brendan Hart just in front of Johnny Clifford. Again, you get that tyre build up, one dropping back through. Full noise out of the final corner. It's pretty much flat through that sequence of corners as well, as Hayden Sarsic goes down the inside of Brendan Hart for position. So Brad Tyrrell on the move. Sideways moment there for Clifford. Using the curbs down to Misa that corner. Second to last corner. Pretty much flat from here up the main straight. Charlton Horse, Remo Luciani. Luciani back up the inside. Goes through to second, the Australian. Zach Zaloom in 4th. Bradley Tyrrell 5th in closing. He's just broken the track record. Bradley Tyrrell, a 38.093. set on lap number 6, so he is storming towards the front. Running the Pacific Card Sport Monaco chassis. Goes down the inside of Zach Saloon, makes it look easy. So Bradley Terrell up into the 4th position. Just making an adjustment there to the carburetor. There's 2 needles on top of the carburetor. You're putting a little bit more fuel into the engine to keep the cylinder head temperature down. If you overheat these engines, they seize. And that's the end of your race. You can see Zach Saloon doing the same thing. Using his left hand across his chest just to make that tuning adjustment. There's the current 3NZ Bradley Terrell, also racing sprint cars out of Bay Park Speedway, as he has done for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Runs the Pacific Card Sport business out of Tokoroa, importing the Monaco chassis out of Australia. And at the moment, 2 karts ahead of him is the manufacturer, Remo Luciani, of the Monaco chassis. Charlton Hawes next on Bradley Terrell's list. Terrell's got around him. Now turns his attentions to Luciani, the master. He's going to give it up pretty easy. Sees Brad Terrell going down the inside. Feel faster than I am. Go and have a go at the race leader, he says. You know, Luciani's going to try and stay there with Terrell, try and get his way back to the front. Sean Ray with about a 2-second advantage. Terrell 2nd, Luciani 3rd, Charlton Hawes in 4th. Getting down towards the business end, Terrell closing the gap to Sean Ray, but Sean Ray with good pace. Good consistent pace. Charlton Hawes looks down the inside of Remo Luciani. These 2 have been trading paint right through the pre-final and final. Good close quarters racing. And Bradley Terrell's run out of laps. Here's the checkered flag. Sean Ray takes the win. Bradley Terrell close and behind in 2nd, but he just ran out of laps. So the final of ID New Zealand Yamaha Heavy, Sean Ray taking the victory from 3NZ Bradley Terrell, with Charlton Hawes in 3rd from Australian Remo Luciani, Johnny Clifford and Manawatu's Brendan Hart.
It was a tough one. I was hoping to get the break and I managed to get a bit of a one, but I knew Brad was coming. I could just see him a couple of corners and I was lucky to keep it, really. Yeah,
Brad certainly came towards the end of the race, but looks like at the top end of the circuit you were quicker than what Brad was down the bottom.
Yeah, I knew he definitely got me down the bottom. I wasn't too sure about the top. I was just trying to keep the head down and keep it smooth.
Lap to go and he closed up even closer.
Yeah, I was very nervous. I started running a bit of block and hoping he wasn't going to try and chuck it in.
It's an unfortunate contact in the pre-final with Sean. I just ran out the back of him and just lost my nose cone, so it's kind of my own fault. So it made it hard and come from 10 to 2nd, and you know, maybe 20 laps would have been better, but it's a 19-lap race and that's what we race for, and 2nd place I have to take it.
Charlton, another battle in that race. You had the battle virtually with the Aussie the whole time.
Yeah, he's a good driver. Didn't want to do anything stupid because it was a long race. Just wanted to sit there and just wait for the last couple of laps to make a move. I was sort of trying it quite a few times, just sort of getting out on the inside and then just seeing if he was going to block or not. And yeah, I usually just didn't have quite enough speed to get him, so it was more just to try and force him into a mistake. But yeah, in the end, I just got a good run out of the corner and managed to get him.